Auntie and uncle, namaste. I woke up in a very good frame of mind and thought I would have been in a very good frame of mind and thought I would have been smiling through the day into this program until the work of the devil changed my spirit. I had a beautiful joke to share with you guys, to give you guys a good laugh to start tonight's program, but I can't. Given what I'm about to share with you, I just can't share any laughing matter tonight. Uncle, Auntie, namaste. Guyana finds itself in a very sad place. We have reached the lowest of low in this country, where I believe the PPP would have never reached, they have gone. A Facebook post by a known PPP associated group has attacked one of my female reporters. I mentioned 2 weeks ago, President Ali held a press conference at Lenora, his hometown, with his own people. My reporter, while asking him a question, was heckled and intimidated. The slangs that were thrown at her by the PPP supporters drove fear into another reporter, so much so that the young lady was afraid to even be identified as a reporter, much less to ask a question. This is where Guyana has reached. President holding a press conference in his comfort zone to drive fear into reporters. That same reporter, Uncle and Auntie, who was vilified at Lenora for asking President Ali questions about our oil, was again asking questions about our oil sector when the Vice President had his press conference yesterday. Lo and behold, last night, this female reporter, a young lady of class, someone who has earned my respect, has been insulted, degraded, and humiliated in the worst way possible via social media. Uncle, this girl has been a dedicated fighter to the struggle in securing a better Guyana for all of us through the pages of Kaieteur News and now on the radio station. This courageous young lady has been in the forefront of the fight against this injustice being done to the Guyanese people with that ExxonMobil contract that the PPP government does not want to hear about or talk about. Her devotion to truth, exposing lies, deceit, and loopholes has now resulted in her being ridiculed in the vilest of ways. She has been abused by PPP agents just for doing the right things, asking questions, speaking out on the radio, and writing articles about this wholesale robbery going on in this land today. This is what our country has come to. This is what our government is about. These are the kind of people the leadership of this country surround themselves with. Hooligans and goons. Auntie, uncle, as a man, and a real one too, I find this level of nastiness against this fine young lady as the worst of the worst and the lowest of the low. I am not only condemning it, but I spit on those who orchestrated this vile deal and those who actually did it. You know, let's all pray for them, that their hearts will be healed of the sickness that festers in them, the unholiness within them. God bless them. They have been trying this. They have trying this with a man named Lall. Yes, they can't get anywhere with me because the spirit in me is beyond all of them put together. So they have resorted to snatching away the people who I trained to work for me. And now, uncle, they're resorting to attacking those who they can't get on their side to do their dirty deeds. Auntie, do real men do these things to young ladies who has a husband and a family? Let me say this. I am certain no threats, no dirty deeds will stop us from doing the Creator's mission. Guys, who did this to her? Put that in a pipe and smoke it. This is what our young president, who also have a young wife, the First Lady, presiding over. And with that, I say no more. Let's move on with tonight's program, with the truth and our future. It's terrible, eh? Bernard? You hear that?
Disrespectful Chinese people to the press.
The leaders are finding names to call us. Everyone who wants a change or the renegotiation of the Exxon contract is labeled as hustlers, hypocrites, and lowlife. Lall is all three. You know, Ginger, we can keep on talking about colonization for how long you want to talk. What the white man did to us, about slavery, indentureship, and about injustice. How bad, how terrible it was during those years. And there's no argument about that, Bernard. It was indeed horrible what we went through. The discussion, uncle and auntie, we need to have today is how our own brothers and sisters in the leadership ranks have replaced the white man, enslaving us all over again in partnership with the same white man and others. That's what is happening today. We have to find, Bernard, we have to find a way to lift ourselves out of this trap we find ourselves in, uncle. Guyana has almost all the resources in this world that they want. We have gold, we have diamonds, timber, and now the black gold called oil. And look, how 3/4 of the population living. Like a man hopping around with a 1 foot, with nothing to hold on to or brace himself. That's how we are living in this country. This state of affairs, uncle, is a direct result of the relationships between the foreigners and our leaders. Foreigners always look out. Yes, they always look out for what is best for them. So they will exploit whatever they can put hands on without mercy, especially when they're dealing with non-white countries and people. But it's our leaders who are supposed to look out for us and protect us by watching out and doing the best for our interests. Are they doing that today? Guys? Huh? Nothing they're doing for us. You have been listening to this program and you have been seeing the exposures I give. You decide for yourselves who enslaving you and who impoverishing you. Listen to this, Bernard. All the reports, reviews and expenses in this oil sector are being kept away from our eyes by VP Jagdeo, President Ali and the opposition leader Norton. Stabrook News and Kaieteur News got hold of a single report that was done by a British firm related to exploration expenses. Yes, we got a report of them searching for oil. 1.6 billion US between 1999 and 2017. 18 years now. Uncle, we found out in that report that Exxon, two partners, charged Guyana 31.4 million US in expenses before them even signed the contract. How you like that, brother? How you like that one? The partners not even come in the business legally yet. But Exxon allowed them to put in a bill to Guyana for 31.4 million US, saying them spend that before the legal signing of the contract. What? Or where they were pumping before they come to Guyana. That rack up that figure, Bernard, you know?
Like it, no?
If these people are so barefaced, uncle and auntie, if these people are so barefaced to do us something like that, with 1.6 billion before them enter Guyana, just imagine. Imagine what they're doing to us presently in Guyana with that 40 billion them said they spend already out there. You got an answer for that, Bernard?
Not at all.
30 nice schools, or 30 nice health centers, or 30 nice police stations or fire stations, them hunching us on that one line item. 31.4 million US dollar the auditor exposed. That's the kind of money we're talking about. Imagine how much US billions them hunch us in Lisa 1, 2, and 3. We ain't even check yet. You got an idea, brother? These are simple things for people to understand. Because Jagdeo said he can't find people to check them. Uncle, instead we leaders correct these things and put measures in place to thoroughly scrutinize these types of skullduggery. They're sharing out invitation for them to come thief more. And when we report these things, man, you gotta listen to the abuse we get for pointing out these issues. The 5th oil project Jagdeo is going to approve again. And Exxon will walk away without pumping anything more into our pockets. You can get no more taxes, no ring fencing, no capping of the interest rates, etc. So the poverty in this country will continue. Your children will continue to go to school with empty lunch kits, while their parents thieving soap, Colgate and milk in the supermarkets. I love Guyana. And I love the leaders too. Bernard, hear this Jumbie story. If Guyana is to challenge that 31.4 million US in the courts,
Which is dust.
we got to pay them lawyer fees plus we want to. That is stated in the contract, uncle. So every day, Exxon can inflate the bills, jack up the bills, and at any time they can do that. And if Guyana reject the bill, like how the auditor reject that 31.4, we got a court problem on we hand. Man, Guyana will be living in the courts from now till the oil done, knowing who we dealing with. Gangsters of the highest order in this world. Yes, the oil companies. That story, uncle, was carried in the Kaieteur News 2 days ago. And when it was put to Vice President Jagdev yesterday at his press conference, he told us, whatever is disputed, we have to go to court. The contract says so. My reporter asked him if he is comfortable with such an arrangement. He said, well, we are looking at that arrangement for the new contracts. You hear me? For the new contracts. So what that means? Exxon oil block that owns 3/4 of the oil. That arrangement will remain just as it is. That's like an altar for Jagdeo. You can watch it, but you can't touch it. Every other project he approves in the Stabroek block will be the same way, uncle. Do what you want, Exxon. We're going to go to court and pay your lawyer fees too. And not to the local court, you know, Bernard. If we got to go to court, it's not to the local court. You have to go to the court in America and pay them lawyer fees too. Imagine, uncle, you getting robbed and know you getting robbed, and the leader is casually talking about such an important issue. What he should have been furious and angry about. Man, you have to listen to the press conference. How he was calmer than a cucumber when issues like this is put to him. Uncle, if it was Glenn Lall, I would have been pounding my hands on the table, broken up the mic with issues like these. Bernard, uncle, I will play the rigmarole answer he gave. He gave the reporter after the program. So you people can listen to him for yourselves. How calm, yes, and donkey damn he was. Man, a con man, a known con man, who conned this whole world. Every country they've been to, even their own country. And now the biggest conning going on here. And we leaders cool, calm and collected about what the oil company is doing to us in this land. Stabroek News was the first media house that got hold of the audit report that the government hiding from us 2 years now, and did a full-blown story in which they reported 214 million US was found to be in question by the auditors. Kaieteur News got hold of a copy afterwards to flesh out the report line by line. And we found out 31.4 million US. They jit us. That's how we know that the people throw in 31.4 million US and they didn't even sign the contract. Any leader, man, would have hold a press conference immediately to deal with this matter. But Jagdeo held a press conference yesterday and did not even mention a word about the oil operations or about these audit disputes. Could you believe these things, bro? Something like this, any leader would have jumped up and say, hey, press conference, we can't handle this. The man hold a press conference and didn't say a word about it. Not a word. He had to be asked by reporters, my reporters, before he gave those answers. And that was pointed out to him. That was also pointed out to him by myself. Why he's not dealing with these issues. I said to him, Bernard, you holding press conferences and you're not saying anything about our oil operations. You know what he told me? I was not listening to his press conference and began to belittle me by telling me he spoke about legislation, that's the new oil laws, them release the permits, them release the license and so on. What the PNC never released, Bernard. Yes. He talked about releasing things that are not so important. But the reports, the reviews and the expenses of the daily operation or monthly or yearly operation, he's silent on that. Everything has to do with the new oil blocks and the new oil contracts. Nothing as to what is taking place presently with ExxonMobil and their partners in the Stabroek Block. That's what he went on with at the press conference yesterday. When he was asked by my reporter about the interest rates we are paying and if he's going to cap it, he said he don't deal with that. I reminded him that at his last press conference, I asked him the same question and he told us, oh Glenn, I will deal with that at the next press conference. This is the game Jagdeo playing with our wealth, our future, our prosperity, and our day-to-day livelihoods. Then he went on to give a whole long rigmarole, up and down story, how loans is a hard thing to get. Yes. To get to do business in the world today. Running away from questions posed to him. Capping the interest rate. How you like that, brother? You ask about interest rate and he talking about how loans are hard to get. Uncle, Jagdeo went around this issue that I wanted to tell him peace of my mind with the language of the streets. But I was biting my tongue and cringing my face. Defending ExxonMobil loans and whatever interest them charging we. How you like that, man? How you like that, SP? Auntie, when he finished with that cock and bull story, I told him, could you please tell us what we are paying presently? You know, he go wrong, come wrong, and still did not answer the question, Bernard. So on to this hour, Exxon 50 billion US, they said they spent out there. Guyana is paying interest. And Jagdeo not budging on this thing. 50 billion US SP at 8-10% interest rate is for 5 billion American dollars a year. Oh boy. Oh. Guyana getting, SP, the whole take Guyana getting per year a 1 point something billion profits and royalty. That's what we get last year, 1.3 billion. And them man walk away with 4 and 5 billion if I 8 or 10% interest on the investment alone. Me ain't talk about profit there. Man, uncle, you should clap on your hands and go vote for them. Nomination day is Monday. Bernard, you can't dispute that because you ain't know and nobody telling you anything. You hear that, Bernard? You can dispute the other bills and expenses, but you can't dispute interest rate. We ain't know nothing.
Of course not.
Wow. Way to run a country, man. The IMF, the international oil exports, begging Guyana to cap the interest rate because the oil companies them have been known to rip off or rip out your guts and feed it back through your nose. All over the world they did that. If you don't keep your eyes on that interest rate. Man, uncle, any donkey know that he has to know the interest rate he paying to the bank for a house. Or even a donkey cat, man. Not true about that? Everybody got to know that. But Guyanese mustn't know. That is only between Jack Dale and maybe President Ali and Norton and the oil company. The Commonwealth begging their members to take control of the cleanup money for it can move from hundreds of millions to billions of US dollars yearly. And President Ali telling my reporter, you hear they call Guyana name there? Oh, when you talk about ring fencing, uncle, ring fencing, don't let that word come out your mind at all. That is where Guyana getting the longest shaft anybody can take on ring fencing. Jagdev telling you point blank when you hear that. You're asking me about the feather from the foot and the feather from the head in a plucked chicken. I only wish you people can understand the danger, like how Glenn understands the danger that we face. I wish you people can wake up tomorrow morning understanding where your future lies. This leader, Jagdeo, he watching you at press conference full in your face, SP, and telling you, we don't deal with that. How many times you want me talk one thing over and over? That's what the man said yesterday.
Nothing in there. So
The insurance issue, the most important thing, other than the oil robbery, that Jagdev passed on to the EPA to deal with. He had to be asked again yesterday by my reporter for an update to that. You guys understand what is going on in this land? This man seldomly holds press conferences. And when he do hold one, this man talks about playground from Linden. Yes, playground in Linden, and playground here, and playground there, and cost down the PNC and the AFC. That's all he talk about. His chief portfolio uncle in this country is our oil. That's Jagdev portfolio. That he's solely in charge of. He's not dealing or talking about that. Reporters have to be lighting fire under him to get him to say something. This is where we have reached. You don't ask, you get nothing. And you hear nothing from Jagdeo about what's going on with ExxonMobil out there. Y'all should give him a round of applause for that, man. Ever not? Again, he addressed the insurance and said, EPA is wrapping up discussions to get the parent company guarantee. But he can't give a timeline when this will happen. The reporters, uncle, will again have to ask him questions on this. Yes, at another press conference. This is how Jagdeo operating in this land. Yes, over a year ago, he said he was waiting on an acknowledgement from the parent companies for up to $2 billion US. Yesterday he said the EPA is wrapping up discussions to get the parent company guarantee. Good going, Bernard. Lovely going in this land. The most important thing in this oil sector, protection from an oil spill. You have to be like a bug behind your leader to secure we and our country. Is this thing for real? I sometimes can't understand this thing, you know. This is my last program, uncle. All right, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Until the last breath God give me, I will be on their toes, in their dreams, in their faces and in their souls. And I know many of you are behind me on this. I know that. I know Miss Mortley making a cup of tea for me right now. Look out for Kaieteur Raj. Oh. Jagdeo on my radio program told us, when I asked him about the insurance, oh Glenn, we are covered by 600 million insurance policy. When I told him that can't even pay for 12 barrel oil spill out there, he said, oh, well, if that can do, the people got assets out there, we can sell it. I even sell them boats out there, uncle. Them boats where Exxon ain't even own. Yes, they don't even own it. They're leasing them. They don't belong to Guyana or they don't belong to Exxon. I even sell it to take care of the damages the oil spill going to do to Guyana. If this man is not a sellout, then I don't know what a sellout in this world is. Auntie, they got a saying, the more you live, the more you learn. The deeper you dig, the more you find. Well, guess what? We found out in that same report that they were hiding from us, that ExxonMobil owns the insurance company that is issuing, that has issued and insuring Guyana from an oil spill. How you like that one, brother? That's how it's through the report we learned that ExxonMobil is the one who insuring Guyana. That is what was revealed during the audit report by the British company, uncle. You understand what's going on there, Bernard? Is every single avenue, every single aspect of this oil operations with Guyana, we are at ExxonMobil's mercy. And Exxon own we pocket. Yes, that's where we are. Everything they own, the cleanup money, excuse me, they own. They're taking out. Yes, they're taking it out and own it. The interest money, only them know it and taking it out. The billions in expenses, only them know it and only them taking out too. And now the insurance they're giving Guyana, we oil money paying for that policy. we oil, Bernard, paying for that policy to the company themselves. How you like that? And when you talk about changes, uncle, and renegotiate the contract, you are labeled as a hustler. You are a hypocrite and a lowlife. So said Timothy Tucker, the ex-GCCI president, President Ali and Bara Jagdeo. You're a lowlife to it, Bernard?
Definitely.
Yeah. How you like that, guys? The children, uncle, the children paying the daddy with we oil money to insure the project in case something happens. So the daddy have to pay Guyana the little bit. Yes, the 600 million US when an oil spill happens. And the worst part, Bernard, hear this part. The worst part of this whole rigmarole. Man, Bernard, you got a good stomach. I know you got a good stomach. This might turn up your stomach, uncle. Yes. The contract says, listen to me carefully, that the children can claim back the money they pay to them daddy if Guyana cannot prove that the spill happened because of their willful and gross negligence. You hear me? Let me explain to y'all what them three words mean. Willful and gross negligence. Uncle, if Guyana can't prove that it was their fault of an oil spill to Exxon daddy, the insurance money the daddy pay got to be recovered. Them take it out back. How Guyana within that though, you know?
Never give you nothing.
But how can you prove that it was a willful act of an oil spill by the people who managing it there? How can you prove negligence? How you going to prove, listen Bernard, how you going to prove that you child willfully fall down from a coconut tree and kill himself? How you going to prove that gross negligence of your child caused him to die? Tell me to God how we going to prove anything like that, uncle. You see what you find yourself in there, brother? You're going to get the insurance money, yes, for the oil spill. But they're going to take it back because we can't prove it's their fault that the oil spill occurred. Somebody tell me I mustn't laugh at the program. Jack David even got a crapper out there looking out for we. How we going to begin to know who responsible for an oil spill or not? And when my reporter asked him that question at the press conference yesterday, he actually said he doesn't see anything wrong with Exxon insuring themselves. Nothing Exxon do, he got a problem with. But everything we say, he got a problem with. Hear that, Bernard? This is the man y'all got. These are the people y'all standing on your fingers for. And got the nerve to compare me with him on patriotism yesterday. It was his press conference. I would have liked to come. I would have liked him to come on this radio and let us talk about patriotism with me. Mr. Jagdeo, my patriotism to this country and the people is very clear for the world to see. 29 years I have fought 6 consecutive governments by the 2 leading parties to which you served 2 terms. Yes. In which this country, the 2 terms you serve, this country is still waiting for you to come clean and clear with answers on almost everything you touch, including the Marriott Hotel, the Borbees Bridge, the Skeldon plant, the hydro seed, the Wales Gas to Shore project, the never done CJIA airport, the Enmore packaging plant, the Sonata complex, the GPC, the drug contracts, we state lands, the mining contracts, the Kaieteur and Kanji oil blocks that you promised to release the beneficial owners. Yes. The list goes on, it's too much. Everything he put on hands on, uncle, is the worst patriotism for the Guyanese people. Everything they touch was only benefiting them. Yes, them friends and them family. Bernard, he gave his niece, while live in Florida, radio license. Radio license in Guyana, brother. In Guyana. And the biggest media houses in this country couldn't get one under his presidency. He did that in 2011, just before he left. Google it, uncle. You will see many stories. Look for the heist of Guyana, Kaieteur News, and you will see some of the things he did. And he talking about patriotism. They're fixing everything. They're fixing their pockets with everything. You tell me don't smile and no laugh? Let me sip my tea, man. Miss Marty, give me my tea. Thank you, Marty. Gosh. Oh, brother. Exxon made 6.3 million US in an hour. In an hour in 2022. But have you seen a story? ExxonMobil made 6.3 million US an hour throughout 2022. 56 billion American dollars profits for that year, uncle. How much Guyana get? 1.3 billion. We can't even fix with teeth-hole. And when we ask for a change in this contract, we are hustlers, hypocrites and low life. And they went on to say we will hurt the image of Guyana. You know, sometimes I feel like cry publicly for this land. My heart is bleeding for Guyana. Uncle, this country will explode. This country will explode. And I wish you people would be able to handle it. This country will explode. Wow. Could you imagine that? 6.3 million US an hour for the whole 2022? 56 billion American dollars? Uncle, the speed in which Jagdev is approving these projects without ring fencing and capping the interest rates alone, just them 2 things. ExxonMobil will be taking home 100 million US per hour just in a few years from now, instead of 6.3 million an hour. Trust me, because everything is free in this land. Y'all have touts insulting and intimidating reporters by calling them nasty names. They have a saying, What go wrong does come wrong, brother. I know for sure. The man upstairs does not sleep. And with that, I say no more for tonight. Have a great weekend. God bless you guys, including the touts. I promised for you to hear Jagdev in his own words. Now, I want you guys to listen. Listen to the answer when he was asked about the interest rates our oil is paying on those inflated investments out there. I didn't play it because I didn't want to confuse you guys. Listen to it now. Go ahead, play that tape.
What is the interest rate that is that we are paying on those investments in the oil field? And can you say if you're going to put a cap on it?
So the interest rate question, I'm familiar with that, and that's been asked. I'm not going to go down that route again. It's the same questions that keep surfacing. Today, I'm not going to deal with issues that I've dealt with before.
Today, I'm not going to deal with issues I have dealt with before. Uncle, he or none of them has ever talked about or given an answer to that most important issue that the IMF is begging us to cap. Are you listening to him there, right? Now listen to him when I backed up my reporter on that same question, what he said. Play it. I asked that similar question, the exact question my reporter asked you at the last press conference, in which I said the IMF and all the world is asking to cap the interest rates. And when you were walking out, you did not answer it. When you were walking out, you said, Glenn, you will answer that question at the next press conference. Here you're telling us that you will answer
so
that.
about capping, etc., I said all of these issues, the interest rate capping, it's complex. It deals with the cost of raising capital, whether it's competitively sourced, the availability of money now for the oil and gas industry. You know, many banks in the world today will not lend into fossil fuel, anything to do with fossil fuel, because they're moving away from that, their lending policy. Raising capital for this industry. We've seen in Guyana's case, you don't need to go far. The Biden administration vetoed the loan that Gisby had from the IDB, claiming that it was going to go for the oil and gas industry. And this is a local company trying to put in place only the infrastructure to service the oil and gas industry. And they got their loan vetoed. And so it's not easy to raise billions of US dollars in capital. So interest rates are reflective of the cost of raising capital. Sometimes it's better to have equity come in, and other times it's interest. It's a complex issue. But so the concern has been raised, just like all of the other concerns in the PSA that I have mentioned, that you write about every day, that I mentioned, but we have a different view on how we address them. We address all of them now for the 9 contracts that were issued from Ramatar era, the whole Ramatar era, and Trotman, and then all of the 14, hopefully 14 new ones that we will sign. That's 23 new contracts. Will have the new law, the new PSA, all of these things about capping cost recovery, 10% royalty, all of that will be in the new one. The Starbrook block, we said before we came into government, we're not doing this. We don't want to kill the momentum. The moment you start a dispute, you kill the momentum of the industry, and everything dries up here for a while. And then you also can't get the investment dollars that are so scarce now for this industry to flow, which is what we want to flow here, so our local people can start doing better too. If you go down, you see the changing face of the city, largely because they're investing to supply the oil and gas industry. I'm sure you have a lot of friends who are now building apartments and homes only to rent to people, because we're looking to capitalize on their presence too. So that is my position. It's a complex issue, and sometimes you can't give a one-word yes or no answer, because it's a complex environment you operate in. And that's what I hope that you would understand. You make everything almost political, and in a way that is very disparaging and all of that. We can have a healthy debate without going that route. And you drag us down into that kind of debate, where we would hope to have a proper, dignified debate, but that people understand each other. You can't be more patriotic or nationalistic, or not nationalistic, but more patriotic than I am. Since when you think you're more patriotic than I am? And so because you shout, oh, Guyana, you're giving up Guyana all the time. We fought in those days when things are enough. And you got your bread well buttered too, as many people have said. We got to look after other people. Anyhow, let's don't go there.
Bernard, you understand anything the man said? Huh? When he was talking, right, I was looking at him as if I was looking at ExxonMobil. How disrespectful Exxon can be to me.
What is the interest? 10%, 5%, 20%? Why is it?
Uncle, that's the man who loves Guyana more than me, more than you, who's simply asking a simple question: what interest rate we paying?
10%.
I never ask him about you. I didn't ask him about nobody. I didn't ask him about going to get a loan or who giving you loans. We just want to know the interest rates we are paying on the loans Exxon took, and if they will be capped, if a ceiling figure will be drawn. What is so complex that he can't tell us that? You guys see the games this man playing? 4-5 billion US coming out from we oil at an 8 or 10% rate, and he's ashamed to tell us what Exxon doing to us.
Maybe 20%,
Eh?
10%.
Now, by he answering that, Bernard, I want to believe it's not 8 and 10. I want to believe it's 25% those people charging us.
Exactly, that's why you can't answer.
Oh my gosh. Oh. And this guy, like, he got no shame. This guy got no shame. Uncle, imagine you go to the bank to take a loan to build your house. You ain't going to tell your family the interest rate, man? Why you don't want to tell them? Bernard? You got to be doing something with the bank behind your family back. And that got to be very personal. Not true, man? You got to be doing something very secretive. That's why you don't want to tell us anything. Interest rates are reflective of the cost of raising capital. What I mean, Uncle? What I really mean? I thought this ExxonMobil talking to me here, man. What that got to do with us? Nobody wants to know how Exxon went about getting the loans. We want to know the interest rate that we are paying from our oil, Mr. Jagdeo. Boy, your underwear is showing. Yes, it's showing there, more clear than ever. And the Guyanese people seeing you through, clearer than crystal. Uncle. Then he went on. He went on camouflage. He went on a camouflage. We dealing with this issue with the 9 other contracts. Mr. Jagdeo, nobody asks you about any other contracts. The Guyanese people want to know how we can reduce the 6.3 million US and our Exxon making as profits, so that some of that money can come to feed, yes, feed this country.
Yep.
Yes. Too many of our people in this land are hungry. And this is what you're doing to them, brother? Come on, man. Uncle, I'm telling you, this country gonna erupt. This country gonna explode. He changing the subject, telling us what he gonna do with the 23 new contracts. You see how conniving, jumping like a crapo from one leaf to another leaf, totally disregarding the most important question at hand, Bernard. Jumping all around the place, talking about things that is irrelevant to the question of interest rate, buddy.
It's like a con man.
This is how a con man behave. It's a complex issue. You can't give a yes or a no answer. Oh gosh. Uncle, you heard him. It's a complex issue. You can't give a yes or a no answer to how much interest rate you're paying. We don't want yes or we don't want no, sir. What Guyana wants to know is the figure. The figure we are paying. But this is how Jagdeo behaves when he's cornered and don't want to share the information because of his personal motives. That's the man who loved Guyana. And told you earlier in the program how upset all of us would have become knowing you're getting robbed. That's the man, Bara Jagdeo. Oh, you getting robbed. Yes, you getting robbed, and the man is so calm and diving and ducking and spinning and talking out of context. Wow. Jagdeo responding. I want you guys to listen to this next video. As Jagdeo responding to the US millions that Exxon partners threw in before they even signed the contract. And listen carefully, Bernard, you gotta listen to how slowly he is picking and choosing his words when the question was asked to him. Could you please play it? Let him hear.
The PSA with Exxon provides for the company to recover costs in disputes flagged by an audit. And I can pull up the section if you'd like me to. Guyana can only manage to reclaim the through arbitration. Can you say if you're comfortable with this existing arrangement and if government is prepared to go down this road to contest questionable costs?
Yeah, so I think clearly if you have a dispute, if they're saying we believe we have supplied, so of the $214 million that they flagged in the audit, they only said that $28 million should be removed from the cost bank and come over to the profit, basically, be part of available for distribution as profits. Because they found that a significant part of their Exxon's supplies of goods and services were sole sourced, almost 36%. But in the 36% of that was sole sourced, they found that about 28 million did not reflect industry standards where they were competitively sourced. So we could have a dispute over the 28 million. So Exxon may say, no, that's not true. So what happens if you have a dispute? You have to go to an arbitration process. The PSA allows them to basically not to make any adjustment until that process is completed. But if you have a dispute, you have to break the deadlock. And that is why there is a process through which that is done. We may have to strengthen that process. But right now, you would always have to have a dispute resolution process. Because if you have two parties that don't agree based on audits and they say, oh, we believe that it's competitively sourced, you have to do that. But also, the PSA says once that issue is resolved, then immediately the funds are available. It's a first charge on any future profit that they have, their share of profit oil. It's a first charge on that. So you have a means of getting it back immediately. So dispute resolutions have to be strengthened. I believe that it's standard almost every contract that you go to ICSID or you go to 3 arbitrators or a sole arbitrator. Almost any dispute, not just with oil companies, any international dispute, you have to, with a foreign company, you have to have those dispute resolution clauses. So that's how I see it. We're going to review it in the new PSA to see if we can strengthen, but you may not be able to eliminate the international dispute resolution clauses.
Bernard, when you listen to this thing, you know, you want to know if this man a work for Guyana or this man a work direct, if he's the CEO of ExxonMobil. You heard his words, Uncle. We may have to strengthen that process. We will review it in the new PSA, in the new contract, Uncle. You notice, Bernard? He will not touch anything with the Exxon contract. He will review that process in the other new contracts.
What is he strengthening? Strengthening what?
Yes, he's strengthening something that we didn't even certain if any isle in them like that. He's not reviewing, yes, he's not reviewing that on the 5th project he's going to approve or any other project in the Stabroek Block. That aspect is not being reviewed. So Exxon can rob you morning, Exxon can rob you noon, and can rob you in the night. And you're going to have to go to courts, live in the court, the arbitration center you're going to live. The money y'all going to collect, Uncle, every cent will done fighting them criminals y'all got out there walking. God, please come and help Guyana. God, please come and help us. Help us quickly, I beg you. Oh, brother. At the end of the press conference, he asked me if I run in for local government. Boy, you better don't make God Almighty bless me and make me a leader in this land. And with that, I say no more.